Introducing my Wheel of Wonder. I just have a project share for you guys. This is my Wheel of Wonder. This is a scrapbooking challenge wheel that I made, and I'm going to be using it for some of my scrapbooking process videos coming up. And so I thought I would tell you guys how I made this. I don't have a process video for it, but it's pretty easy to make, and I'm going to include some cut files on my blog, so you can just link through the information section for this video. There will be a link to my blog, and I will make it be a direct link to these cut files. Now, these cut files are very, very, very basic, so most of you out there will be able to just do this yourself. You won't need a cut file from me, but I thought that since I have the cut file, I might as well make it available. So what I use to create this is a turntable. This is, or a Lazy Susan sometimes it's called. It's used to put in your cupboard to keep your canned goods so that you can see them all. I used to use it for my mixed media supplies. I'd keep all my jars of stuff on this, and then you can just spin it and be able to see everything that you have stored on your shelf. So this one is by Made Smart, and there's what the label looks like if you're looking for the exact one that I have. I will put a photo right here that will show you where you can get it on Amazon, and I will link this in the information section below. It's not very expensive. It's $8.99 I think on Amazon. I got mine at Canadian Tire. I think it was only $5 or something. So it's just a plastic turntable, and it has a rubber base on it. And if yours doesn't have a rubber base, you just might want to put some temporary adhesive down or line it with some rubbery cupboard liner, because the rubber base keeps the paper from spinning when you spin the wheel. So then what I did was I cut a 9-inch circle. So what I did was I measured the circumference of the inside, and so I kind of had to eyeball it, and you can see here that the inside of this is about 9 inches from one edge to the other at its widest. So 9 inches. So I cut myself a 9-inch circle. I just put it on my silhouette and kept spreading it bigger and bigger until it was 9 inches. And you can see on the silhouette, even though it's a circle, it has a square around it, and I just kept making it bigger until it was 9 this way and 9 that way, and then I knew it was a 9-inch circle. So I cut it twice because I actually have 2 of these wheels, so that I had 2 of these plain cardstock circles, and I will insert some information right here that shows you what that looks like. And so I had these 2 9-inch circles of cardstock, and the color doesn't really matter. I just used scrap paper because I planned to cover the entire surface with my pieces of pie. So then what I did was, on my Silhouette software, is I drew lines that divided it into quarters and then into eighths. And when I did mine, I actually didn't make one of my lines right, and so it wasn't quite in the middle of the 2 quarter marks, and so one of my lines was wrong, which meant that 4 of my wedges were the wrong sizes. So rather than having 8 wedges that were all the same size, I had 4 that were the same size, 2 that were the same size, and 2 that were another same size. So I have since fixed that cut file. So if you happen to use my cut file, it's fixed now, so you'll get a better outcome than what I got. I had to just be careful that I balanced my wheels off. You can't really tell, it's only slightly off, but I would have had if I wasn't careful about it, I would have had a gap somewhere. So that's just the only thing to keep in mind, is make sure that you make your cuts exactly perfectly in the center so that all of your wedges are the same size. It will save you some tweaking later, which I had to do. So again, if you're able to use the Silhouette on your own, you're probably going to be able to make this yourself really, really easily, and you probably won't need my cut files. I cut it up with 4 different pattern papers, and for this project I used the Lawn Fawn Let's Polka Mon Ami collection because I really liked how all of these colors look together, and I thought that it would just look cute to have matching patterns in different colors. So that's what I did. I cut it out of the yellow, out of the pink, out of the green, and out of the brown. And then I had a whole bunch more wedges, which is why I ended up making 4 wheels. So I made 2 wheels on each piece of cardstock. So I have a whole bunch of wheels here. So what I did was I just glued down each one all the way around the circle, and I just used the edge of the cardstock as my guide to make sure that this was going to be in the center, and then I just lined up each one from the one that was already there, and I put them all down on the cardstock just using my regular ATG adhesive. So then I had something that looked like this. Then what I did was I took these labels from Recollections. There's 96 in a piece in a package, and these are planner label stickers, and they're craft with gold accents, and I put them through my typewriter, and they work really well on your typewriter. Like the typewriter does a great job on it. I made a couple of duds, so I just thought I'd show you what they look like. So I ran that through my typewriter, and I had a list of 32 different challenges. And so each of these challenges for myself are on here, like to use my silhouette, to use stamping, old new board blue, stencil, border punch, soft colors. There's a whole bunch of them. So I just put it so that one was on each of the wedges across all 4 of my circles on 2 different circle cardstocks. And then what I did was I took some vellum, and first I started to make this thing, and this is, it's not permanently adhered to this wheel, so that I can actually take this off and flip it over and put it on any of the wheels that I want. So what I did was I didn't have any temporary adhesive, so I just put regular adhesive, and then I just kind of like blotted it on my jeans to make it a little bit less sticky, and on my fingers too, just so that it's not going to stick permanently in the center of wherever I put it. Then I used Lawn Fawn letter stickers to spell out Wheel of Wonder. I used the turquoise ones and the yellow ones. This is just what the yellow package looks like. Wheel of Wonders. And then I took some Bella Boulevard enamel hearts and decorated around it. And it's mounted on a 3-inch circle punch that's punched out of plain vellum. And then I took my Stampin' Up! 2 3/8 scallop punch, and I punched out of some patterned vellum. Not this particular pattern, but this is an example of the patterned vellum. It came from this, actually. I'll show you which piece it is. It came from this, and it's this vellum with little lines all over it. And that's just for a tiny bit of extra interest on my centerpiece. And then I punched a 2-inch piece of white cardstock. I lined it with gray pen. I actually did that after the fact. It would have looked nicer if I had done it before I put the letters on, but I did it after the fact, so it looks a little wonky. But that's okay. And this is my centerpiece for my Wheel of Wonder. And so now whatever wheel I want to use, I can just put this in the middle of it. And just put it in the middle like this, and it looks really cute. It covers up that part of the wheel that's all but a whole bunch of points touching each other. It's not the prettiest part of the wheel. It's not too bad, but it's a little boring without the center in it. So now I can just pop this right into place like that, and I just like to make sure that all the air is out from under it so that it's not going to flip around when I spin it. And then I have a bunch of these Tim Holtz arrows. I got a package of them. I think 6 or 8 come in a package. They're from 2014 according to the stamp on the back of it. And so what I'd really love is to have something like all kinds of like little pegs or something all the way around the top of it, so that I could have something and it could have that satisfying tick, 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 tick. I love that sound. Anyhow, that would be just way too complicated. This is just a little project that I wanted to do super fast this afternoon, so that would be way, 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 way too complicated for me to have to bother with. So I'm going to sacrifice my satisfying tick, tick, tick sound for the convenience of just placing this arrow, and I'm going to place it right on the center line of my mat so that I know where the center is. And then I'm also going to line it up so that the center of this is lined up as well, just so that I can start in the center, because that's always nice. And then when I want to scrapbook and I want to give myself a little challenge for scrapbooking, all I have to do is give it a spin like this, and it landed on green doily. So my challenge is to use a doily. And when I'm scrapbooking, I can decide to spin it once and just use that as my challenge, or I can spin it a couple of times and maybe get myself a three-part challenge. Like maybe I'll use doilies, and I'll scrapbook about music, or use music in my title, or somehow incorporate music into my layout, and bold colors. So that would be an example of how I would use this wheel. I'm really looking forward to using my Wheel of Wonder to scrapbook with. I think it's a really fun way to mix up your scrapbooking and introduce something fresh and new. So if you can find one of these turntables, or maybe you have one kicking around home, it might not be this exact one, but just take the measurements and then you can adjust your circle shapes accordingly, and go ahead and make yourself your own Wheel of Wonder. In the meantime, have a really great scrappy week.